What's up, guys? I'm Eric and you're watching Savage Garden. In today's video we're going to talk about germination. Check it out. Well, there's really only two different kinds of germination when you break things down. One is going to be direct sow. That means you put it into the pot, container, or directly into the ground and you let it grow until it's time to harvest. The other way of doing it would be if you were to take the seeds and germinate them outside of the medium you plan on planting it in, and then eventually transporting it or transplanting it into the ground. This is going to be one of the ways I think, or I hope, is really going to work for me. That's my kids. One of the ways I really think is going to work for me this year when it comes to carrots. And for this, you're going to need loose potting soil, just water, a plate, and then a plastic bag. Make sure the bag's big enough to put the plate in. I had to buy two different kind of bags, but we getting it done. So the first thing you want to do is take your loose soil and really fill the bottom of this. It's okay if there's a few bigger pieces, but really you want to make sure it's fairly fine and a lot of perlite or whatever kind of medium that's going to hold in some water. I'm going to just try to get it nice level amount of soil. So for our purposes, this is going to be good enough. This is dry right now. Next thing we're going to do is really hydrate this. So in this video, we're going to be using this style for carrots. Carrots are one of the most tricky plants to really get to germinate. Gonna try to get this as saturated as possible, but hopefully it is my intention that this is going to be a good method for beginners who are not really keen to doing a direct sow, because there's so many things that are going to be an issue when it comes to direct sowing carrots. One of the biggest ones is keeping those seeds hydrated for over 2 weeks. Yes, 2 weeks is going to take, but the cool thing about that is they don't really need light during that time. So you can cover them up. You can do a lot of things that kind of gets you, babies are being loud, so don't mind them. Still got to get this video done. Still got to get it done, guys. So one of the biggest ways, or biggest advantages to not needing sun is you can tarp them. You can put wood. You can put whatever over it to really kind of keep whatever moisture in that you have, and hopefully in 2 weeks when you pull it off that you already have good seedlings growing in. But for this is going to be an experiment that shows a different way of doing it that hopefully is supposed to simulate a cold front or the last frost and allow you to start getting your germination a lot quicker before you transplant it into the ground. I'm going to grab some seeds. It doesn't really matter what seeds you get. Here I have some multicolored carrots. I'm pretty sure they all taste the same. And then I have some regular Danvers half cut. And she doesn't want to go with the Danvers, but hey, she's going to have it to go. And they're going to be the right age to do this with Dad later on. So if you guys don't know, I have twin daughters and they really love Dad's attention, so they're watching me in the kitchen. This is why I do most of my videos outside. But I have a handful of seeds, and I'm just gonna sprinkle them over. And you can be, as generous as possible, because we're gonna end up thinning this out, and some of them may not take. This bag of seeds is kind of old, so they say after a few years, your germination rate kind of decreases. So yeah, there is that. That's something you could take in to consideration. But I have put a good amount of seed down. We're just going to add just a little bit more water, just a little bit more, because we really want to make sure these seeds are hydrated. We're not going to cover them or anything like that. This is good enough. And then we're going to slide it in our handy dandy bag. Zip it shut. And then just like this, you're going to put it in the freezer overnight. And then in the morning I'm going to show you what it looks like after 4 days of sitting by the windowsill. Check it out. These came out of the freezer about 3-4 days ago. I put them by the windowsill, kept them in the house because the weather in Texas has been crazy. It just got really cold, and with that being said, I kind of feel like I missed my window to plant these for the optimum result. Now this is one of this plate has gotten really soggy, so I have another plate under it so it doesn't fall apart. But maybe this went just a little too long because there's a lot more green, but really it was supposed to be more white when this happened. But we're gonna plant them in the ground anyway to see what they produce. But I really like this kind of germination just because it simulates a cold front and allows your seeds to really start moving quickly and growing fast. So I have not had, sorry, that's my babies. But I have not had a successful carrot harvest yet, just because they're difficult, and direct sowing here in Texas is so hot that I feel like I'm not gonna see anything because the weather is just so crazy, and keeping the plants hydrated has been really an issue for me. So with this one, it's already looking a little bit promising, but let's just see what happens. So there's multiple ways of doing this. One is to get a little hole, take out an individual plant, and directly try to place it into the soil and cover it up. That might take a while. So what I'm gonna do as an experiment for myself is half of this I'm gonna do in this method where, yeah, the dogs are being loud, but hey, you can't control that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do half of these with a spacing about 4 inches in between. I'm going to do a rows on this side, but on the other side, I'm just going to scatter and then cover with soil and see what happens. I'll just rip that one. So, like I figured, I kind of made a mess of the things, but I have never had the patience to do carrots, so if this is a success, guys, I know you can do it too. Instead of doing the rolls, it was too far gone. My place had really been way too saturated and it went too long. I end up just laying out best I can. I'm gonna cover it with loose soil. This is all hydrated, and it's mostly what soil did I use? Mostly some moss, peat moss, so it's gonna retain a lot of moisture. And I'm gonna just lightly cover this and pray to the gods. On other news, I got some actual water in my rain barrel, so that's what I'm gonna be watering this in with. I'm gonna cover this when I'm done with whatever cardboard I can find to kind of make sure that moisture stays trapped. So guys, I'll update you guys as soon as I find out something, maybe a week or two. See you later.